This is the beginning of the engine swap. Just got Merlin 2016 BMW on the hoist. I had to fix the hoist first. Now we got it on just the pit bull stands, just barely fits. So actually some tape, but then a strap's really the better one. And we got the front giant loop using the giant loop straps. They work freaking awesome. Things locked in there. Made some room. So yeah, now I stripped the wheels, the bodywork, gas tank, radiator, the coolant, chain obviously, all the sprockets off. I mean, airbox coming off. All right, we're back. Oil is in the oil pan. Obviously got the gas tank off, airbox off. And here you can see throttle bodies, and there's the starter, and yeah, so then I gotta decide, do I remove the rear wheel? I don't think, oh, I just gotta get the chain, oh yeah, and I gotta break the sprocket off, and then you start to, oh, and then the radiator and the oil cooler, you know, oh, and the exhaust system, yeah, lots to do, lots. Okay, another hour has gone by and we're back. I got the throttle bodies out. I got all of the cables disconnected. Everything. All the injectors times 1, 2, 3 because of the power commander as well. All the little plugs, all the sensors, all the starter. Obviously the top spark plugs. I have lots of safety wire I've been having to cut off and remove, and got the chain removed. The next step is actually, I think I'm gonna have to get the radiator out of the way, maybe the oil cooler, to actually access the remove the headers. Just trying to remember if I removed the radiator before, did I struggle and try to get in there, and did I remove the front wheel, you know, to make it easier to then move the radiator forward, or did I just remove it completely? So just kind of remembering what the best techniques are. All right, guys, well, another day, another non-dollar Ernie Racing. All right, day two here in the shop. Removed the front wheel, removed all the cam sensor, crank sensors. Got the stator unplugged back there. Stator unplugged, ran the cables back. Here's the stator. Just hanging it out of the way. And yeah, everything is disconnected in here. And I loosened the engine bolts, drained the oil, drained the coolant, drained the oil cooler as well, and of course got some oil in my pants. What else is going on? I labeled it, all the plugs. Yeah. Got the headers and the exhaust off. Here is some parts here. I got to clean all these hoses up. Oh, this goes up here. Here, see the handle, I took it off and all is one system. And here's the radiator oil cooler here upside down. Yeah. All right, well, we're about to fly. We're almost ready to fly. So I got it strapped to the subframe, pulling left and right on the front lower triple on the forks. And as you lower the machine, the bike will be left hovering. That's the idea. Hopefully it has the right balance. But what's actually going to happen is the motor is going to go down. I'm going to get a pallet crate that fits the bottom of the motor that I built before. Yeah, the other motor's on it right now, so I got to take the other motor, put it in some tires, and then put that crate underneath, which will fit perfectly underneath it. And then I can unbolt the motor and lower the motor out with the entire lift, and leaving the bike hanging in the air with the rear tire. And we're back, guys. This is my third time at it now in the morning. And the engine, I took all the engine bolts out. Look, you can see the frame just floating. And the nice thing is you can like lower or ratchet up, you know, and then like I can ratchet the front. I want to raise the front, right? Just another ratchet. So you really have a lot of maneuverability with this way. I have 4 points of the frame to move around with up and down, forward and back. And then the engine, you know, I just step on the thing, right? And just, you know, unfortunately this thing actually goes forward. It's not just straight down. I guess it would be a little nicer if you had a kind of like an engine hoist thing instead of this, but everything rolls. It's all on wheels, right? So I mean, it's pretty simple though. Pretty good. So engine's gonna come out next. I guess just lower it down a little bit. All right, there it goes. And just kind of check around. Just look at all the tire that gets in the back here, right? So yeah, it's just going forward and very nice, very nice. All right, well, that's pretty much it. Out. Just finish her up here and just lower her down. Gotta watch the sensor, transmission sensor, whatever that is. See? Ooh. Oh, and this is what's nice when you watch out for cables as you go. Sometimes there's a straggler. Looks pretty wild from here, huh? There it is. Easy on wheels and the frame. Look at this thing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Simple. Get her done. Ooh, okay, well, I am heading home. It's time for some dinner, and made some good progress. A lot of cleaning. I actually cleaned this motor on all the outside, all the crud. Cleaned. You can look how clean I've been working on it. You know, with the brake cleaner and the metal protector, and you can see the worked on that a little bit. Here we go. Put the transferred the GB racing cover, transferred and resealed. You know, with gasket maker, the Woodcraft slider, put in bolts so I could safety wire things. Cleaned out all the oil line plugs, and I'm going to put the Woodcraft case cover here next. And yeah, I've been cleaning all of this. This was all that chain spray area, and yeah, a few things such as that. So just lots of clean today. And putting the little, I got to put all the sensors in and all that stuff. So working on it. So yeah, that's enough for today. You know, I got to transfer this ring over as well, and you know, these pieces, and I got to install the water pump, etc. Got the Woodcraft cover on. Got the sensors, crank sensor on. Got, of course, the case covers on. This is all dry. I've torqued that down. Yeah, and yeah, now we gotta put the head together and seal it up. Okay, so it made some progress. Got the trumpets on, the intake, air intakes with the throttle bodies put on, and yeah, so I actually take the throttle bodies out before I drop the engine, but it looks like it'll be a perfectly easy to raise the engine with the throttle bodies on. So, and I got actual attached ones that you can tighten down as opposed to the stock clip style. And yeah, water pump on. I should double check those. I can't remember if I fully tightened them. Oh, another update. I totally forgot to get on the updates, but as you can see, the Hindle is on with the whole system. There it is. There's the whole Hindle system, along with the radiator. And I'm just hooking up the upper line from the water pump. And I don't know if we talked about it, but I got all of the DynoJet fuel lines, everything, all the spark lines, the fuel injection plugs. And I cleaned out the radiator too, you know, just did a little washout with some water. And here's got this line. I've been safety wiring as I go, so don't forget. See, I actually safety wire the Samco hoses and the drain things. Everything's safety wired. Obviously, then I got to put the oil line in here, and on the other side, you see the only plugs left are for the air box. On the top of the air, the upper injectors in the air box, but all the lower injectors, everything's done. Yeah, everything's bolted in. It's coming together. Oh, and just got a few more things here. Yeah. So you see, I'm trying to stay neat and tidy. So let's keep going. Yeah. All right, continuing on with the mission, everybody. So I got the bike. Oh, frick, falling! I got the wheels on with the stands. Don't actually need these anymore, just for a little safety left over. You can see the front hooks are off. Wheels on. I mean, I cleaned the wheels. Everything's been cleaned. Again, the only thing left to do is the air box with the injectors and the air intake sensor plug, and then the ECU on top of that, and then hook up the battery. you know, chain sprocket, everything's hooked up. I adjusted the chain. Ironically, the chain was tighter when you take the motor in and out, so I had to actually loosen it up. And then I'll lock those chain adjusters in after I verify. Put on SC2 for the dyno, and an old front as well for warming up on the track. And so I went and grabbed my AMSOIL Coolant Boost. Helps fight radiator corrosion. It also gives better tier-to-tier surface technology, which helps the transfer of heat from a metal to a liquid. So the transfer of the heat from the engine, you know, to the coolant, to the radiator, to the air, the tier technology, the transition of heat happens more efficiently with this additive. And so it's going to help reduce engine temperatures, promotes faster engine warm-up times as well because of the faster transfer from the heat of the engine to, you know, essentially the rest of the engine through the coolant. And of course corrosion, and gives you a color change. And then so that I use distilled water. So here I picked up a couple distilled waters, only going to need one, but and then 2 ounces per quart. So I put in 8, you can see like just more than half the bottle. 8 ounces of this, just a little over 8 ounces because this is 4 liters, but I also drained just a tiny bit to fit in there. So that's going to go in the coolant system. And you know, this is for racing as well, so there's no glycol, there's no slipperiness to it, right? Essentially just if you spill on the track, it's just water to dissipate in the sun. And yeah, I got AMSOIL already in the bike. I also did the AMSOIL synthetic, filled it up, and yeah. See, there's the AMSOIL in the window, right? And you know, there's a sprocket, made a line, everything's Loctited as well. You can see I started redoing safety wires such as this. I think I showed you this the other day. Clips, so I got a little more to do. Progress. Okay, airbox is on. It's got the 4 bolts to bolt down the airbox. And the upper injectors are plugged in with dielectric grease on everyone, including this one. And then there's another little plug hitting under there. It comes through here, you can see. And got this guy on, one of those, what are those clips called again? And another one on the fuel line, ear hose clamp, right? Ear hose clamps, like wherever they, you know, they're all over, right? You just kind of squish them on, they're a one-time use, and then you get them off. Yeah, okay, so I just got to put the air filter side in, and then the ECU on top. So let's get the airbox in, air filter. Okay. ECU is on top of the airbox. Fuel tank is now on, and fuel pump is plugged in. Wow, I mean, I put the lid on the coolant. We're gonna burp it obviously once we warm it up a bit and take the cap off and let it run with the cap off. But and obviously I changed the oil, so I need to start her up, circle the oil, and then top up the oil. But yeah, it's once I just, the last thing is to hook up the battery positive right here, and then turn the on key on the switch, the key on, and get power to the unit, and then dabble on this. You just like boom, just to make sure the starter's turning over. Try to get, and you don't start it, you just like dunk dunk dunk. Try to get some oil to the head before the engine actually runs, kind of like manually turning it with the starter. Yeah, it's come crunch time. I'm nervous for sure. Oh, you know, like I've just double, triple, quadruple thought about everything. There's no loose plugs or anything that's not supposed to be plugged in except for the signals and the O2 sensors. Those are the only kind of like random plugs. Again, here's the other signal. And the of course these guys too, but the O2 sensor on this side I stuffed back. But wow, what a process, Been working at it slowly every day over the week. Now it's Friday, so worked on it Monday to Friday all week, but could have done it in half the time. But look how clean it is. You know, I've been detailing it all. And then safety, I still got a couple safety wires to do on the oil side. But yeah, brakes, everything's good to go. Just got a safety wire this. And as you can, I've been doing the shoe goo as well, and I might safety wire over top of it, but the shoe goo does an excellent job. As long as you get it on contact to the material and then the bolt end. You can see right here, it'll do a better job than safety wire actually. It really, and then of course I got a safety wire, the drain bolt on the water pump. And here's another example of it, right? Safety wire, goo, shoe goo, and it's on all the lines. Here's an example just on bolts to make sure they don't back out ever, right? Super important ones, shoe goo. Shoe goo is your friend. Just look at that. It won't want to focus, but shoe goo, everything. Oh yeah, look at the banjos. I've done this before, so I re-shoe gooed a new section. Like this is the new section, that's the old section. You don't want any banjos pulling out, right? Shoe goo, shoe goo. Very, very important. So dabble your bolts, it's super easy. You can see a long time ago I shoe gooed this, so this won't back out. You know, again, a little bit there. So yeah, I like to dabble with the shoes, and I use it on my boots too. And then here, this one's been safety wired, and then I applied some shoe goo, which essentially the shoe goo locks it in there. You have to rip it off a pair of pliers before you can get at it. So I'll put the thing on, and then we'll start her up. Okay, let's just see what happens. Turn this on. Okay, you can hear the fuel pump worked, and no engine light, which is a good start. You can hear it clicking away. Okay, so we're just going to dabble on it, but we're not going to start it. Try to give it, it's a neutral, of course, double check. Just a little dabble. Okay, let's see if the oil level is dropping, nothing too much. So we're going to start it up, guys. Start it up first time, the engine, and then okay, bring the RPMs up to a fast idle too. Okay, recycle it on. Here we go, guys. I got my hand. Okay, so that's all that smoke. That's metal protector in the muffler, metal protector everywhere. The AMSOIL metal protector. But now we got to top up the oil. Top up the oil. Woo! Smoking. Smoking. Okay, so I just topped it up. Now they're like maybe a third of a quart. There you go, just slightly below halfway in the window. So let's start her up again, and we're gonna, if it will, we'll take it to operating temperature and give it a heat cycle at idle. All right, let's do it. It's getting smoky in here. I wanted to check the oil again, so double check that. Let it fall back down, see what happens. Also, you might have noticed it was kind of coming out of there. I just had the cap sitting on there, so then the air can come out, and it kind of bubbled out a bit. But the oil is just a tiny bit lower, I think. No, it could have been running all the way, so no big deal. So I'm just going to top it up slightly, and then we'll run it all the way. Okay, startup number 3 here. So we're getting a little bit of temperature, yeah, it's getting warm. So what's the coolant at right now? 66. All right. Okay, 95, that's a good coolant temperature. Coolant is hot. Motor is hot. So yeah, there was metal protector. It was all rusty. The metal protector just burning off the outside of that plug. And of course it was all in here from the oil dripping, you know, when I took it all apart. But yeah, well, the engine survived the first cycle. So we're not going to rev it on the stand. You need to have a load on it. So essentially either you take it for a ride or you know, you get on the dyno. So I don't think I'm going to take it for a ride. I'd rather just get on the dyno, break in on the dyno. I mean, yeah. Okay. And then about. And an important thing to add, go over every bolt on the bike that is accessible. I grab every Torx, every Allen, every time I see a bolt. Check them all. And I came across a few, including this. Most of them were loosened up was actually on the frame right here. And so I shoe glued every single bolt, and then I'm gonna go remark all the bolts with paint, and you take off the old paint if they don't line up. So checked everything. Double check. We cannot have mistakes. Checked all the forks. Checked any bolt that's accessible. All the rear set here. Re-shoe glued everything. And these actually weren't as tight as they could be. Shoe glue everything. Double check.